Well, thanks, Todd, and good morning, everybody. Proud that everybody's here and you're now new members of the Elway team. I know it's been quite an arduous process for you, and congratulations, you've made the cut. The thing I hate doing is having to cut people, and that happens all the time in football, but congratulations, you've made the cut. We look forward to you being a part of the Elway team. We believe it's a great team to be a part of. We've got great managers and a great ownership group, so we're proud of you part of that team and look forward to hopefully getting a chance to shake your hand. Well, I've been very fortunate. I got into the car business in Colorado in 1989 in a small Jeep store up off 104th, and then had an opportunity 2 years later to buy a Mazda store that we're eventually hopefully going to turn into a Ford store. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that Ford store, we had the opportunity to buy a Toyota store, a Honda store, and a Mazda old Hyundai store up on 104th also, which eventually turned into buying 6 stores over a 7-year period from starting in 1991 through 1997. And eventually that's what I was going to do when I got done playing football. But unfortunately, AutoNation came along and it wasn't something that I wanted to do, but they were big enough at the time that they created quite the competitor, and plus with the amount of money that was on the table, everything's for sale. And had to walk away at that time and sold them to AutoNation. I created a working relationship with AutoNation for the next 8 years with licensing agreements. But at the end of the 8 years, decided it was probably time for us to go separate ways. And I think we determined at that point in time that it would be a nice time to start competing against AutoNation, having seen how they do business, that we thought that we could compete against them. And with Mitch and Todd, able to put a great ownership group together and some great managers to be able to put our head to the grindstone and really go work and sell a lot of cars. And I will say this as my experience working for the Broncos over the last 30 years and having talked to people, and even more so the last 4 or 5 years as the general manager of the team, people always want to come up and tell me that they're a fan of the 49ers or they're a fan of the Chiefs, and because they always want to make sure they tell me they're not a fan of the Broncos, which is, I'm fine with that. But the great thing, and a lot of times what everybody doesn't hear, is how many positive comments I get on the dealerships and how we treat people at the dealerships. And that's the thing that's most important. I don't care who anybody's a fan of, but I do want them to be a fan of the John Elway dealerships. And again, that starts with you. One of the great reasons why I got into the car business is because of the fact it's a day-to-day. There's a scorecard every day. I get a chance to look at the daily docs day in and day out, and it is a scorecard. What's important to us at the Elway dealerships, number one, is our culture. And what does our culture want to reflect? It wants to reflect integrity. Integrity comes from us standing by our word. That's why we have the Elway promise. And by what you say to the guest and create that trust is all about the integrity and the culture that we want. It's about creating guests for life. We're not trying to squeeze the last dollar out of every guest, but what we want them to do is really enjoy their experience when they come into the dealership. And we think we've done that up to this point. And you're the next part of that machine, and the fact that you're going to help us create that same culture that we've always wanted, and that's to create those guests for life. It's like football. Only we in football, we only have a scoreboard once a week. We're in the car business, we have to do it day in and day out, and that's why it's such a challenge, and that's why it's competitive, and that's why we feel like we have a chance to be as competitive as anybody in the state of Colorado, is because of the people we have. And again, we talk about the most important thing is you and how you treat our customers. So our goal is to be the best. Well, I get the question asked a lot, is your name just on the billing, you're not involved? You know what, I am involved because it means a lot to me, because that my brand does mean a lot to me. And I've got 2 tremendous partners in Mitch and Todd, and I know that they do a great job in the day-to-day operations, but I'm always there in spirit, and I'm there looking at that dock. And so I have the conversations with Todd and Mitch very often, so I will continue to watch. Again, congrats on being a part of the team. I'm going to throw it back to the main man right now, and I'll see you in a little bit.